Last time on Square Roots, either they played a sex game about a dommy-mommy crushing things with their hair, or a Bechdel test passing queer icon battled angels, one of the two.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I'm joined by Matthew Van Zant.
All right, I can do it. I can do this. I can do it. I can do it. I love Bayonetta. it's such a great game.
Johnny Temperance Brandon.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like Dick Shot or Knob Blaster.
Johnny Bullet in the Pee Hole Brandon. And special guest Vanessa.
Hi.
Vanessa dialing in from her hospital room.
Not in the hospital anymore, but I was.
Happy to have you here, Vanessa.
Don't make fun of Vanessa,
much.
Jim. We're not doing jokes,
What are you
Jim.
going to do?
You can't make fun of me or make jokes of me or be mean to me because I am convalescing.
I'm saving that for the group chat. Well, we're happy to have you. This is... What do I usually say? This is a podcast where we play and talk about your favorite classic RPGs, one chunker at a time. This is episode 2 of Bayonetta, which is not an RPG, but a classic-ish.
It's also the penultimate episode. Thank God.
Yes. We're getting
Wow,
through
that was a
this
fast
thing
series.
Well, it's a short game.
Can this game be iconic and not rise to the level of being a classic? Because I feel like that's where we're at.
I feel like it's a classic. I'm really enjoying it. Like that last boss,
Classic piece of shit.
I said wow to the screen when I saw the boss in chapter 11. That was pretty cool.
Jim, I think you really nailed it. Iconic video game for sure. Classic, give me a break.
Just got to get good.
Classic example of bad game.
No, it's a good game.
Classic example of gross sexism.
A little bit.
Well, before we get into all of our hot Bayonetta talk, does anybody have any hot gaming news?
Well, should we maybe do our level ups first this time so Vanessa can do her level up?
So Vanessa can get out of here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vanessa, how did you level up?
Great. Thanks for asking. Really terribly. I
You really leveled down.
I broke my ankle in 3 places. It sucks.
She should have learned from the first. Nothing.
I'm very grateful for the support of medical staff and my friends and Vanessa's mom. I don't know what I'd be doing without them. But yeah, there's nothing to really say about it except that, like, don't do it. Can't recommend it. And, but you know, I'm doing my best to keep a positive outlook. And I had 1 surgery already. I will have another surgery the day after this podcast posts. So thoughts and prayers, boys. Thoughts and prayers.
There
We're
will be
thinking
thoughts
and we're praying.
and prayers. Did anyone get you anything nice?
Yes.
In sympathy? Ooh.
Yes, thank you for the prompt. I got a very lovely package of assorted meats and cheeses from the 3 of you.
Yay! Technically also from you.
Technically also from me because he used the Patreon funds, I guess. So I treated myself.
Well, technically from all the listeners. All the listeners got you a nice
Yeah.
plate of cheeses and meats.
Thank you, listeners. I love meats and cheeses. I tried the truffle salami, and it was good. Very mushroomy. I could taste the mushroom. Taste it on my tongue. But all that said, the one thing I do have the strength and time for is watching all the things on television because I am bedbound for the foreseeable future, at least 6 weeks after this next surgery. So I watched a few things. I watched the Blackberry movie, which I think is on Hulu, featuring Mr. Sunny from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
How was
What's his name, Matt?
Their Canadian accent? Were they like, "Oh, you know these phones there? They got a keyboard on them, eh? You can make all sorts of decisions."
Yeah, you can leave the house and still get a phone call, eh?
He didn't sound. I thought he didn't sound very Canadian in the movie, but Jay Baruchel, who's Canadian, sounded super Canadian in the movie.
His name's
leaned into the Canadianism.
Yeah.
I met Jay Baruchel when I was working at a car dealership. He bought a Polestar Volvo, and I bought his old Mercedes.
Wow.
He was very nice. He was very shy.
Oh. Did you drive his Mercedes around afterwards and be like, "I'm Jay Baruchel"?
I've driven both his Volvo and his Mercedes, yes.
Did you like pick up dudes and be like, "Hey, did you know this is Jay Baruchel's Mercedes?"
No.
Did you find a pencil with some bite marks in it and then take it to his dentist to try and confirm that it was really his
But I met
Mercedes?
him. He was there. It was definitely his.
Did you offer to put the bear in Baruchel?
No, thank you.
He's just
also,
a little guy.
He's tiny. He was a little teeny tiny guy.
Just a little pal. I also watched a documentary called The Pez Bandit. This was on Netflix. It is about... I'm sorry, it's called The Pez Outlaw. I was just kidding. It's on Netflix. It's about a man who was involved in the toy collecting scene in the 1990s and started specializing in Pez dispensers. And it has quirky characters, it has niche interests, and it has crime. So if you're interested in any kind of thing like that, I think that you will like it. I thought it was really well done, very entertaining, very strange people, and odd choices that people made, but it's good. I enjoyed it.
Did you learn what Pez was short for? Because I know the answer.
No, what's it short for?
Pezermint, which is the first flavor of mint. It's basically peppermint in German.
Pezermint. I had no idea.
It's true.
They don't taste like peppermint, though. I don't think Pez really tastes like anything.
Well, no, there's different flavors, remember? They don't have peppermint flavor anymore. It's like fruit flavors.
I don't remember. I think they just kind of taste like chalk.
It's that
Very
chalky
chalky.
candy.
Mm-hmm. Chalky candy. Really, the candy is secondary to the dispenser,
The dispensers
I would
are
say.
pretty great.
Yeah.
And the last thing I watched was a documentary film called Shirkers, which is about a group of friends who tried to make an independent film in Singapore in sort of the late 90s, early 2000s. And what happened with that, I might have been even earlier. It might have been sort of more the early 90s. But it's... I don't want to spoil anything about it, but it's very interesting. They kind of get involved with this very strange guy, and it's about, they were like 19 when they were trying to make this film. But if you're interested in filmmaking or weird characters again, or Singapore, especially before it sort of became completely unrecognizable from what it used to be. You look at Singapore now, it's just high rises and high-end shops all over the place. And so it's interesting to see the footage of Singapore in the 90s when it was still looked more like a sort of colonial country, I guess. Those are the 3 things I have to report on viewing this week. I'm sure I'll have more to report on next week if I am not too deep in my recuperations from my next surgery.
Yeah, we hope that you can stop by again, but if not, we all know that we'll see you soon as you're able.
Yep.
We don't want to push you.
No, I don't want to push myself either. But I do miss you guys, and I miss, being here for the listeners and bringing a good, fun, good time. But good fun, good times will come again.
Yay!
Fun, good times.
Yep.
Good times, great taste. That's why this is our place. Square Roots Podcast at McDonald's. Wait, no, I did that wrong.
Yeah, you really fucked that up.
Yeah. But it was, good effort. I don't want to just totally bring you down, Johnny.
I do.
With that, I'm going to bounce. Something I can't do physically, but can do metaphorically.
Bounce,
was gonna see
baby,
Vanessa.
bounce. Bounce,
Bye,
bounce.
guys.
Bye.
Bye. Well, that's it for this episode of Square Roots.
Yeah, we might as well just cut it there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Oh, bye, Vanessa. It's nice seeing you.
Goodbye. Shouldn't even pass it off to anybody. What a jerk.
Yeah,
Wow, Jim.
I leveled up.
What'd you do?
You guys want to hear about my sweet level up?
Yeah.
I have two cool things to talk about, and one of them we both did, so I'll talk about the other one first.
Cool.
I watched a show. I watched the first season of a show called Animal Control, which is a Fox sitcom. The second season just started this week. I was seeing a lot of ads for it. One of the stars is Joel McHale. I'm a big Community fan, so that was kind of enough to catch my eye. I decided to see how it was. And I watched the first season. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's not the brilliant subversive comedy that Community was, and how could it be? But I would say Joel McHale was playing a similar character to old Jeff Winger, which is kind of probably pretty close to what that guy's like in real life. Kind of a smarmy douchebag. But it also was really fun and funny. It has a great cast. Everybody's really entertaining. Every episode seems to feature a different kind of animal puppet, which I really like, because they they're animal control operators. So they go out to houses and, capture wild animals and that have gotten into houses and schools and businesses. So the first episode had some ostriches. And they did close-ups of the ostriches, and they were just like ostrich puppet heads, and it was really
that's
cute.
Aren't they like
cute.
animatronics?
Yeah,
So who's in this show?
Joel McHale,
Oh, okay. I like him.
and the rest of the cast, I don't know their names. They were all very good.
Is Joel McHale playing an asshole because he seems unable to portray anything else?
I guess I'll just repeat what I said a few seconds ago. Yeah, Joel McHale is basically playing
Sorry.
the same character from Community.
Sorry, Matthew.
It's very similar, but I would say it's distinct. It's a distinct character, but it's a very similar guy. He's kind of an asshole. He doesn't like his dad, But I think that he really nails the delivery of the type of jokes that character needs to nail. He's, kind of mean, and he's very funny and charming, and he's also not. He's less forward as like the main character. It doesn't feel like there is a main character. It's like a true ensemble. There's there's a New Zealand lady. There's a guy that's like a former Olympic snowboarder that does this now because he like broke his ankle or something. There's, a cast of characters, and
Okay, that sounds fun.
and like I said, like it takes a couple episodes to get going, but and it never hits the point where you're like dying laughing every 10 seconds. Like it's not, and it can't be like Community. It's not that. If you want to see, if you want to watch something similar to Community at this point in your life, you're going to have to watch fucking Rick and Morty, because that's where that guy went. But it's a good sitcom, and I really like that they introduce a bunch of puppets. Like, there's a couple episodes with weasels, and they have little weasel puppets, and there's a cougar puppet at one point, like stuff like that. And I don't know why, but just having like little animatronic or little puppets on the show really kind of elevated it for me into like a really charming area. I guess season 2 just started, and it's already been renewed for season 3, so that's nice for them, I guess. And I'll keep watching it. It's good.
So is Joel McHale like playing an asshole on the show like he did in Community?
I also went and saw America's hottest new cinema film movie.
Ooh, what did you see?
I saw a new movie called Doing It 2 Electric
Ooh.
Boogaloo. And I know that Jim also saw that, so he probably wants to share this moment with me while we talk about Arrakis and the story of Paul Atreides and Chani and all of the terrible things they do. The beloved story of a desert terrorist.
Yes. I was really surprised by how good Timothée Chalamet was. You could tell he was really kind of acting conservatively, but like when he uses the voice or yells at people, like it's like a whole other level. Like it like kind of makes you sit back a little bit when he starts to yell. Like
I would say the second half of the movie when he really kind of commits to his destiny, he really gets fucking intense. And he's really good.
He is good. He has such a presence. Like he was in scenes with like Christopher Walken and Josh Brolin and Jessica Ferguson, and he was like commanding those scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was owning it. Like good for him. He was great in that movie.
Christopher Walken is great. He is very much in, as Johnny coined the phrase, in his sitting down portion of his career, which is very true.
Well, he's an elderly gentleman.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's old as heck.
I don't want to talk major spoilers, but if you want to go in without hearing any very light discussion, if you've never ever seen Dune or whatever, like maybe skip ahead a minute. We're not going to spoil
I read the books
movie
a couple of times, so I'm
well,
good.
specifically what I want to talk about is not. I don't want to really dive into it, but there are some. I just want to say there are some pretty significant changes.
Oh, interesting.
From the book, and not. I think that they pretty much worked. I missed a particular character and maybe a couple of scenes with that character, but I fully understood why they kind of cut that, and it didn't. I think it didn't make the movie any worse. It wasn't. It's not exactly Tom Bombadil where you're like, maybe you made the movie better by cutting that, but it's certainly. There was some minor things like that, and they also they do something that I liked a lot, which is that that book and every filmed version of it thus far has had to deal with the fact that book spends just an awful lot of time in Paul's head while Paul thinks, and this movie really managed to cut through that, and I really fucking liked that. I really liked it a lot. It doesn't work in film. You can't spend a lot of time. Maybe there's ways to do it, but you don't have to do it. You don't have to spend minutes of a film having somebody think about things. Like they found ways to cut through that I thought really worked. And if you've read the book, like what's going to happen, and it works really well. Austin Butler was really great as what's the character's name, Jim?
Yeah, Fade Rotha.
Fade Rotha. I kind of was not even sure he was going to be in the movie. I thought they might combine the characters with Batista in that role as Robert or whatever, but they didn't. They did their own thing, and there's a great scene, which is, I believe, in the books, maybe not word for word, but you get to spend a little time on Getty Prime, which you've seen in the previews. It's really visually fucking wild and cool, and also worked as a great break from what was going on in Arrakis. And I will say they also did interesting things with sound, where it was long periods of incredibly loud soundscapes and music, and then also long periods of quiet reflection, oftentimes played off each other in ways that I felt like were noticeable. I did see it in digital IMAX, and it was very loud.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe for me, when it got quiet, it was almost a relief because it was so fucking loud.
Yeah. The that director Denis
Villeneuve.
I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Villeneuve. Yeah, thank you. He can put things on the screen that I've just like never seen in movies before. Like almost all of his films I've seen in theaters and I've been like, God damn, I've never seen something like that in a movie before. Like in Blade Runner 2049, in Arrival, in the first Dune, there's just stuff in those films where I'm like, I've never seen anything of that scope before, you know? And he films everything in such a grounded way where it's not filmed in a spectacular fashion. It's filmed very normally, but he's able to communicate the scope of these massive things that are on the screen. And it's just so like, I remember thinking in the theater watching Dune 2, like, this is kind of blowing me away.
Yeah.
Like the massive ship that the Emperor has, that big, like spherical ship, it looks incredible.
Yeah.
Like just looks amazing. I was blown away.
I think he manages to cut through to the heart of the story and kind of the heart of the themes of the story very clearly and very well. And he does have to shed some things to get there, I think. But I think he really nails that. There's a ton of special effects in the movie, obviously, but kind of not, I think, as much as you would think.
Interesting.
You know, there's not hours of the sandworms on screen and stuff like that. When they are around, they're still pretty obscured. For the most part, you get to see them fairly well a few times, but like that's not the main focus of the movie. Is not the special effects. The main focus of the movie is not the action scenes, and that's why that guy's movies are so fucking good. The main focus of the movie is the plot and the characters, and the
themes. Like he really builds his movies around like the themes that he's trying to communicate, which like down to like the color palettes of the scenes. Like he's such a talented filmmaker.
Yeah. So some minor changes. Zendaya kills it again as Chani. I think she's a phenomenal actress. They managed to. He uses a couple of characters that I don't feel like were ever in either the books or the previous iterations ever really played for laughs. He kind of plays for laughs to alleviate some of the tension and seriousness of some of the things that are happening, and I think it works exceptionally well. Just 10, legitimate 10 out of 10. Great fucking movie, and cannot wait to sit down with 1 and 2 to watch together, at home. And one last thing I'll say about that is that I took my son, who we had watched the first one a couple of years ago. He enjoyed it, but he was young. That's a meaty movie for a kid. He was fucking 9 or 10 at the time.
Yeah.
And he was very interested in seeing the new one, and sat through it and basically enraptured the whole time. Maybe the middle hour I saw him getting a little antsy, but what was really great about that was being able to, at the end of it, once we were gone and in the car, to talk about the themes of the movie with him, because I think that the movie nails it so well that it was easy to discuss, kind of the big main themes of the movie, like, Paul is the protagonist, but Paul is not a good guy, which is, for a 12-year-old, I think, kind of like an interesting and probably important conversation to have. And I was really kind of grateful that I was able to have those conversations with him, It's a lot easier to do it with Dune than it is like, I don't know.
Politics.
Five Nights at Freddy's or whatever trash he watches. Anyway, Dune 2. I don't think I'll go see it again just because I have a real tough time sitting through a 3-hour movie. And also, like, theaters they always get hot after an hour, and I always get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to see it again when it comes out on home release. All right, Jim, why don't I go ahead and move on to you, since you've already been talking. How did you level up?
Sure, yeah. So outside of Dune 2, I watched another movie called The Report, which is about the Senate's report on quote-unquote enhanced interrogation practices after 9/11. Super good movie starring Adam Driver and Annette Bening, and John Hamm is in that movie. What's that guy's name? Tim Blake Nelson. He's in that movie.
I think if I can do a quick aside, did I read somewhere that he was cut from Dune 2? I wonder who he played.
He was. He filmed a scene. They won't say who he played. He filmed a couple of scenes, I guess, and they cut them both. Denis Villeneuve said, "I will never tell anyone what character he played and what scenes he filmed.
Interesting.
Which I think is interesting. Yeah. But yeah, super good movie. I guess it came out a few years ago. I don't know that it got a wide release, but it's on Prime. I liked it a lot. It had a very like journalism feel to it because it's about Adam Driver plays the Senate staffer who's basically spent 5 years putting this report together. It's like 6,000 pages.
Wow.
And about him like dealing with the CIA monitoring him and trying to interview people at the FBI, trying to interview the contractors who perform these enhanced interrogations. It's super interesting. I got a real it gave me the same kind of feeling that like watching Spotlight or stuff like those kind of investigative journalism films. I got the same kind of vibe from that, which was cool. Those are some of my favorite kinds of movies.
So it turned you on, is what you're saying? It made you horny, baby.
Gave me a journalism boner.
Mm-hmm. Journey
B. Another thing is that I started listening to a new band that I saw recommended by a music journalist that I really like named Stephen Hayden. The band is called Liquid Mike. They're from the Midwest, I think the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Their music is, I would say, like rock / pop punk / power pop. Very, very pup-esque. Maybe a little less punk than pup, but man, super catchy, super hooky. Their latest album that just came out, which is called Paul Bunyan's Slingshot. It's only like 25 minutes, the whole album. Each song is maybe 2 minutes. But man, super, super hooky, super good. I would say if you're into that, check out Liquid Mike. John, how did you level up?
How do they compare to Solid Mike and Naked Mike?
That's funny. I don't even know how to answer that. I think that's really funny.
Thank you. How did I level up?
Yeah.
I got as far as I'm wanting to get with sorry, I burped. The Good Place. I watched up to the 12th episode and I was like, I'm going to stop it here.
Of the first season?
No, of the last season.
You're not going to finish the season?
No.
Because you don't want to do a cry?
Yeah. It's
I've
too
done that
sad. It's too
I've done
sad.
That with, a couple of shows. Scrubs is one where sometimes if I'm rewatching, sometimes in the past when I've rewatched Scrubs, which I've done several times, I have got up to the final episode and just been like, I don't think I can do this. Just not watch it.
That finale will ruin your week.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a tough one.
The first time I watched the finale of Scrubs, I spent 30 minutes with tears running down my fucking face. Like, it was brutal.
Wow.
It was brutal.
They play a Peter Gabriel cover of Book of Love over like a montage of touching scenes from the show, and it just rips your heart out.
Aww.
Oh man, what a great show.
Otherwise, I released 2 videos on my Bears and Games channel. One was a review of the Switch port of what's that game called? Saints Row the Third, and the other is a look at being fat in racing games and why they won't let you. And it's just silly. Like, don't think that you're going into like a college thesis.
Yeah, it was a good
I'm
video.
having fun.
Can I make a suggestion to you real quick that you can just cut out here? Do you know what Canva is?
No.
Okay, well, we are paying for a Canva subscription. It's a website that lets you put together like title cards and stuff for streams. And it's got like millions of fonts and cool animated stuff and all sorts of great stuff. And you can use that. Maybe spruce up your thumbnails is kind of what I noticed, is kind of what I wanted to say. I'm not trying to criticize you, but I think you could probably stand to spruce it up a little bit and make it look a little bit more profesh. And Canva makes that like so fucking easy that I figured out how to do it in 10 minutes. And I'm a dummy.
Mm-hmm. I'm also getting sort of Super Butterbun style PNGs. I've hired an artist to do a bunch of reaction, like sort of. It's
Cool.
Julio.
I love that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
who
little
Super
different
Butterbuns
reactions.
is.
She's that queer YouTuber that really likes Bayonetta.
Oh,
I really have always liked that type of thing. I know that The Escapist had a lot of stuff like that back in the day.
Exactly.
I really love that. I think that's a great idea. I think that's a
So
fantastic
yeah, it's
idea.
Julio. He's gonna do like I'm doing paper doll style. So basically 5 different bodies, and then
Okay.
on
Sounds like
that
you're gonna make Vanessa really mad.
8 different expressions. Well, she's busy right now.
That's true.
Recuperating.
I think that's a great idea. I really love that type of thing in YouTube videos. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. And yeah, so my next one, I'm recording some footage now on a deep dive into Driver 3. I've even been talking to the director of the game, so that's been fun.
Cool.
Yeah, Driver 3, an interesting game. Some Matt sent me a image of Lisa Simpson getting really mad at a video game. And her eyes turning bloodshot because he's like, well, this is what happens when you have to fight a boss 5 times. There is a section in Driver 3 which is so poorly made. And it barely holds together. You're supposed to get to this boathouse and go up the stairs, but like the enemies will insta-kill you if you do, and it's glitchy, and so basically you have to bard's tail it by waiting outside of their range of sight and just shooting them while they stand there. It's but the game has some good moments. Like, I think it's a really interesting game, and it's definitely got a lot to it. I want to read some behind the scenes stuff and sort of get to know what exactly happened, and it's not a piece of trash, I'll say that, but it has some very frustrating and broken moments, and the on-foot sections are bad. They're just bad. They should not have been in the game. It feels like a very early PlayStation 1 first-person shooter when you're on foot. Although there's interesting stuff, like the shelves are all breakable and stuff falls on them. There's physics everywhere, but it's just like it's below GoldenEye for sure in terms of playability. It's really rough. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I've been doing. I'm also going to figure out a new show. Oh yeah, I've been watching Delicious in Dungeon. That show is a lot of fun. I like Senshi.
Cool. I started watching Has Been Hotel with Jalen today.
Oh, Haley and Connor both watched that and have both told me both to watch it and not watch it. Particularly Haley is like, keeps asking me if I'm going to watch it, but is also kind of like, don't watch it. So I think there might be some inappropriate stuff in there. No, it's not an anime.
Yeah, it's an animated show that's on
Prime.
It's there's some adult stuff in it.
It's about,
I'll say that.
I don't know exactly what it's about, but it's definitely about angels and demons, and it's like
it's
comedy.
About Lucifer's daughter runs a hotel in hell to reform sinners in hell who are demons. And then there's like a subset of demons who are trying to thwart her, but there's one of the villains is he's like a porn star, and there's, I think one of the episodes deals with like sexual assault.
Have you watched or heard of Hell of a Boss, John?
No.
It's by the same, it's a webtoon, kind of like a web animated series, and it's created by the same person that created Has Been Hotel, and I think is actually set in the same universe as Has Been Hotel.
Okay.
I've actually been meaning to watch that for a long time, just kind of never gotten around to it.
All right. Well, is there any hot gaming news you want to discuss? There's one thing I definitely want to discuss.
Yeah, I wrote down a couple of things, nothing major, but just a couple of things that stood out to me. One of them was just to follow up on what we discussed last week. I guess that Switch emulator Yuzu settled with Nintendo and agreed to shut down.
They also must have agreed to make a public statement because they put out a statement that was like, piracy is bad.
Yes, they did.
And don't do it.
I think they're also paying Nintendo a couple $1 million.
$2.4 million.
Hey, you know what? That sounds low to me. That sounds really fucking low to me.
Yeah.
I don't have a dog in this race. Like, I don't really care. I can see both perspectives. I did kind of have some tee-hee fun this week on the internet watching all of the epic fucking meltdowns. People were losing their fucking minds. And of course, a lot of it was people who just clearly don't have the first understanding of law or the court system, talking about how, Yuzu should have fucking taken it to court and won, which, boy, I don't know if that was going to happen.
If I like it, that's fair use.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking wild. John, what was your hot gaming news?
Jeff Gerstmann on his podcast talked about the thing that Jim had brought up, the Game Scent, the AI box that makes it smell like whatever you're playing. So here's how I thought it worked. I thought it would have like a variety of different like smell ingredients and then put them together to make different smells.
That's what I thought.
Like via AI. That is not what it does.
How else could it work?
It has 6 bottles of essential oils. It is essentially an essential oil diffuser. And the bottles are labeled like there's no blood yet, but there's gunfire, racing, thunder, explosion, and storm and forest. And then there's one that clears the air, although that one does not work. So apparently it plugs into the audio output of your computer. And the AI part is that it reads the audio and then uses that to prompt the smells. And apparently it's okay. That part works fairly well. But the smells do not smell like the thing that they are supposed to smell like. And it really stinks after about 5 minutes and makes your room stink. And the smell does not go away even when you press the clean air button. Mm-hmm. And things don't fire at the right time. And there's no real... It's just a piece of garbage.
That's the least shocking news I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the Game Scent.
A couple other minor things. I don't know if anybody else saw it. If you didn't, you should go check it out. The Amazon released a trailer for the their new show Fallout, and it looks shockingly fucking good. Shockingly good.
I'll have to give it a shot.
Walton Goggins nailing it, of course, because he is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. But the rest of it looks like it really captures Fallout, but also looks like it might be a genuinely interesting and fun show. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I was reading about it the other day, and I guess one of the creators or the writers was like, we approached this like we were making Fallout 5. So apparently they put a lot of work into making it feel like a Fallout, making it feel like a complete thing. Which I think is cool.
Yeah, that is cool, and I'm excited to see it for myself. And you know, it's a trailer, so who knows? It could be a huge pile of crap. But from what I've seen so far, they've got me. I'm hyped. And last piece of gaming news, very minor, but a demo launched today. If you have a Switch, it should be out on your Switch right now. For Princess Peach Showtime.
Ooh.
Y'all excited about that? Princess Peach Showtime?
No. Jim, are you excited?
I don't even know what that is.
It's a Princess
new
Peach
Nintendo
game
starring Princess Peach.
Is it like a party game or?
No, it's like a platformer, I think.
Okay.
And she wears different costumes that give her different abilities.
Yes, it looks like it's set like in like a variety of like stages or like plays. So each world has a different ability. She can be a swashbuckler. She can be a pirate. She can be a pastry chef. She can be all sorts of stuff. Early previews that I've seen say that it kind of is maybe like a baby game for babies, which is kind of a bummer. I pre-ordered it for my daughter, so I'm hoping that it can at least capture her attention. She's not a baby, so we'll see how that goes. But hey, if it's really easy and she can tear through it, she probably will. But yeah, if you're interested in checking it out, go check out that Princess Peach Showtime demo. Nintendo has notoriously over the years been very reluctant to release Princess Peach themed games. There's only been one other, and so at the very least, it's nice that they're doing that. And unlike Super Princess Peach, where she like cried to kill enemies or something, like this one looks like she actually is more of a real video game character and less of a misogynistic take on a woman.
Oh, you mean she doesn't use slap gloves or a parasol to hit enemies?
I mean, she might. Nothing wrong with using a parasol to hit enemies, Jim.
That's true. You're right. The Penguin did it.
Well, that's it for the hot gaming news that I have. Does anybody else have anything they want to discuss?
I don't think so. We discussed this a little on the stream last night. I was interested to see that they're making a Sinking City 2, and I'm surprised because Sinking City 1 was a giant disappointing turd. one of the jankiest 3D like adventure games I've ever played. It's terrible.
That reminds me, there was an Xbox event. The one thing out of that I was very excited about is they announced basically a DLC for Persona 3 Reload. It is, I can't remember the name now, but you would probably recognize it if you know anything about Persona 3 because it's not new. It's from the original or from one of the games, and it is Episode Aegis. And I am excited. Apparently it is very controversial among the fandom. I've never played it, and I guess it also is coming to Game Pass, so that's awesome for me, because I am still playing Persona 3 Reload and really enjoying the heck out of it, and this comes out in September, so maybe by then I'll be done with the game and ready for a DLC. Have either of you played Episode Aegis, whatever it is?
Persona doesn't that have the alternate ending or the extended ending? Isn't that where that comes from?
Yeah, I think so.
I think you're right. Yeah. Was that in Persona 3 Portable?
No, that was in FES. Persona.
That was the
PS2.
That's the one we played, right?
Vanessa played it. I don't know which one you played.
The
it.
PSP, right, or the PS Vita?
No, that's
Portable.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I don't. Well, then I don't think I've ever played it because I've only ever played Persona 3 Portable.
Yeah,
so
I just had
Aegis: The Answer.
Yeah, I've never played it. I think we talked about it on the show.
Maybe. I guess it's controversial among the fandom. I'm excited to see it for myself. We'll see what happens with that. But cool that they are incorporating that. And even cooler that it's coming to Game Pass because fuck yeah, bring it to Game Pass so I don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into the quest log. Johnny. Sing us into that quest log.
Quest log! It's a time for fun and adventure. Quest log! Nothing ever rhymes with adventure.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Quest log.
Quest log. The quest log is brought to you by the Square Roots Podcast.
Remember
Copyright
when the show
TM.
first started and I used to have to come up with fake advertisements every episode?
I like that.
Remember when the show first started and we thought one day we would have advertisers?
We did. We had for a limited time until we alienated them all.
Take that, advertisers. You can't buy us.
Very punk rock of us.
Yeah.
I like the way our thing is. I like the way we do it anyway. And I I kind of like being supported by Patreon, to be honest with you. Like that really, I think that's the best way to do it. I mean, we're never going to become millionaires doing this, but we have a great fucking time. And we have, I think, the best fucking group of listeners out there. I love chatting on the Discord, on the Facebook. It's, we're never going to get so big, I think, where like we stop paying attention to you, unlike a lot of shows. And I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'll take this opportunity to give a quick plug to our Patreon. Patreon.com/Square Roots Podcast. You can sign up to be a patron. The Patreon is how I keep my house hot. So if you would consider being a patron, I would really appreciate it. So you're saying the house
is your corn?
The house is my corn.
The Patreon is your corn.
Yeah, the Patreon is my corn.
All right, well, let's get into this dumb piece of shit game. I have a few positive notes this week, so that's nice. Huh?
Yay!
Don't you like that? You feel good about that, Johnny?
Mm-hmm. I do feel great about that, but let's get into it. Chapter 6, Gates of Paradise. This one is actually where I got stuck the first time I played the game. Because there's a staircase and you fight those Dua Lipas or whatever they're called. The ones with the elemental glowy fists in the stairwell. And you're chasing after the image of that little girl. You're, I guess, in
it's not an image. You're chasing after the little girl who is in
the other world,
the real world, and you are in Purgatorio or whatever.
Yeah. So there's a stairwell where you fight two of those Dua Lipas, and they fight you. But as soon as you kill them, it's such a narrow corridor, and as soon as you kill them, two more pop up, and I just could never get past it. And even now, it took me like 6 or 7 times to get past it. But I did equip weapons this time, and I found out like you can put the guns on your hands and your feet, or you could put a weapon on your hand and a weapon on your feet.
Some weapons you can't put on your feet, which I do find kind of annoying. Mm-hmm. Like you can't put the whip on your foot.
Oh, I never got a whip. That sounds fun.
You know, I started using the samurai sword and never went back. It's fantastic.
I just have the fists and 2 guns so far. I hope to get more weapons, but I might go back. You know, you're saying who would ever go back, but I kind of want to go back and replay these levels now that I'm better at the game. Like this chunker definitely forced me to learn how to play it better, which is good because I'm dying less. Like I got past chapter 11. The only death I had was due to a stupid quick time event.
Do you have the skates yet?
No.
Wow, you suck.
There's skates?
Yeah, you can get skates that you put on your feet, and Bayonetta will ice skate around the levels and has like ice
sounds
kicks.
Really fun. That sounds great.
I put them on, but really like it's not faster than turning into a cat and running around. I will give the game this. I love that. That's a great game mechanic.
I turn into a bird.
Into a kitty cat.
Do you turn into a bird?
I did get the ability to turn into a couple other things and just have not experimented with that in any way, shape, or form.
The bird's really useful for some. I'd like to avoid traps in a bunch of places, which is great. So this also has the first instances of spike traps, and there is one spike trap area that I had to look up how to get past. There's a pile of rocks. No,
you know
because
what, John? That was the first place in the game, and so far the only place in the game where I also had to look it up. Which is really, for me, it's really stupid of me because I had gotten stuck there. Went back down to the area before, as far back as I could go, where there's like some water and stuff. Went down to the ground level.
Same here.
Found a pile of rocks that I broke and then got like a treasure chest or something from, and then went back up there and still couldn't figure it out. And then when I looked it up, and it was like, right by the door, there's a pile of rocks, and you just have to hit it. I was like, I'm the dumbest man alive.
They don't look breakable, I guess. They didn't look like they're hiding. There's a lever there.
There is like a very obvious like opening there where you can see through the wall to like the clockwork beneath.
Yeah.
I felt really dumb.
And but the problem is there's also like 3 pressure plates before that. I was like, okay, so I was messing around trying to get the pressure plates to work, and that didn't.
They're not functioning yet. You have to break the rocks, pull the lever, then they open, then you have to cat through the whatever.
After that, you meet a little girl, and you finally get to talk to her. This is the little girl from the church before. Her name is Teresa.
Bayonetta insulted her.
Yeah, but then she like disappeared when Bayonetta had a traumatic flashback. To being trapped in a prison.
She calls Bayonetta Mummy.
Yeah.
Baby Bayonetta.
I love this relationship.
I think that this character model is maybe the most accurate depiction of like a toddler-aged child I've ever seen in a game. She's really
adorable.
Cute. She doesn't look super realistic. She looks like a plastic model. That's fine though. Like this is an older game, but like her facial animations really do look so much like a real like 4-year-old. Like there are scenes where she starts to cry where like I can remember my kids looking exactly like that. For some reason, creating children is so hard for it's not just games, it's fucking Comic books have had this problem for years. Like
Yep.
visual arts have always had a tough time with like this age range of kids, babies and toddlers. And honestly, Cereza, this game nails it. And it honestly, it made me like this character because I was like,
I
you look like
like-
a real little girl.
That there's an arc, like a character arc with Bayonetta and the little girl. Because at first she's just like, "I'm not your mummy," but she does. You see her softening as it goes along with her, and she is always going to.
She's a cutie.
And she's always going to protect her. Yeah, so Cereza is convinced that Bayonetta's her mummy. Bayonetta says she's not. Cereza starts crying, and Bayonetta's like, okay.
I guess we'll find out. But why would this kid think Bayonetta's her mom?
I don't know.
Unless she is. She must be.
Maybe she is. I don't know. But she's young, and Bayonetta only lost her memory 20 years ago. So it'd be, this kid's not 20.
I'm sure there's time travel bullshit. Like, this game is all
probably.
bullshit.
Yeah, actually.
In no way, shape, or form do I put it past this. I'm not, it's not the type of game where you're like, but that's impossible. Nothing's impossible. This game is all bullshit.
Well, you found that chunk of statue that had her name on it, too. And it was Jean and Cereza later in Paradiso. So there's something going on.
Yeah.
At any rate, Bayonetta says that
it's like a bad like sci-fi or fantasy movie where like stuff's going on, but I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't matter because there's no consistency to this.
It
and
matters.
You can throw shit at the wall and like, I know there's going to be some stupid explanation. It's not going to be satisfying. It's just going to be some stupid fucking explanation.
I'm really enjoying it. I like her
Some mystery to it. There's no flair. There's no love.
Yeah, there is. There's plenty of love in this game. It's a very weird game.
Not the kind of love that I want to fucking be involved in.
So she agrees to protect Cereza and try and find her dad, who is working.
And specifically, when I say that, I'm talking about like the story and the character. I'm not talking about like the visuals, which, yeah, there's like flair to the visuals. It's just not the type of flair I enjoy.
Yeah. So yeah, she goes along and then immediately gets attacked by angels. She can see the angels, which Bayonetta is fascinated by, and Bayonetta puts a little shield around her, and so you have to make sure the shield doesn't get broken while you fight these angels, which is the mechanic. Even on normal, that never broke, so it seems like it's not like a detriment to gameplay because it's not like
hard, but it is annoying to have not yet another in this game, but just like nobody likes escort missions and everybody knows that, so why are we still doing it?
But they've definitely realized that, and so it's not like you'd have to really fuck up for it to go wrong.
Yeah.
So you then you find she's rescued. Cereza is rescued by Bayonetta, except something's weird about this Bayonetta. She's got a halo. Bayonetta doesn't have a halo, but it's not Bayonetta. It's a Joy.
The character intro. The character intro for this enemy is like the silhouette of Bayonetta sitting down with her legs spread open, and the thing reaches down and touches its vagina, and you hear a moan.
Yeah.
Yep. And then green holy light comes out.
Yep. It's great. I love it. It's so good. Like, I love it when games are gross and I can't play them when my children are at home. Thanks, John. I also, when
thanks, listeners,
is revealed, the character design for this, it's just an enemy type. You'll run into 1,000 more of these. Is the grossest. Like it's like a dead or alive character. Like it's just all jizzle
physics.
Jizzle physics.
Jiggle physics. Like it literally has like bouncing breasts. And each enemy, I talked last week about how I don't like the torture attacks. Each enemy has its own enemy type. Has its own specific
that one has
attack.
I will agree with you. That torture attack's gross. The one that for the
what is that one? I don't know what's going on in that one.
She pulls like a sawhorse out that's covered in spikes, and she slams the boob angel down on it, and then I don't know. It fucks
just
it to death or
really
something. It's awful.
emphasizes her
Yeah, it
The-
really
the-
emphasizes
the-
her boobs.
The boobs of the.
It's gross.
Yeah, that
It's
one's
gross.
I agree. Next chapter, the cardinal virtue of temperance, which we now know means a boss fight chapter. Woo!
Oh, does cardinal virtue always mean a boss fight? I see.
Yeah.
I see.
So
Cool.
Bayonetta
I like these
is-
levels because they're fast.
She wants to
Yeah.
go to Isla del
This
Sol.
one had the first like real joke in the game that made me laugh too. Like I did get a good chuckle.
Yeah, Bayonetta shows up and everyone's talking to her and she's like, it's like I'm a fucking celebrity here.
Everywhere I go, people are talking about me. That fucking legit made me laugh.
So, you're at an Air Force base and Luca is there and he thinks that you have brainwashed this child with you. And Bayonetta,
Yeah, so
like,
Cereza is calling Bayonetta mummy, and Luca's presumption is that Bayonetta has murdered the girl's parents and brainwashed
Yes.
her into thinking she's her mother.
Well, because he thinks that Bayonetta murdered his dad, so he thinks
but
she's just like a
this is
serial
still
parent
a wild
murderer.
stretch. Did Bayonetta kidnap him and convince him he was her mother? She was his mother? Because
I
if
don't
not,
think
then
so.
why would he jump to that conclusion? That's and instead of just like, oh wow, you have a child? Because that it's bad. It's a bad game.
I mean, he did see Bayonetta come out of a coffin
and then his
and
dad
shoot
exploded.
a bunch of invisible things, and then his dad exploded.
Well, no, he didn't see her shoot a bunch of invisible things, and that's why he thinks she killed.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
His father.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, there's a lot, like, there's some lore you can find here about how there's a cult that's sort of running Vigil, called Vigil. Vigrid.
Vigrid. Yeah, it's neither of those.
Vigrid.
Vigrid. That's what it is. Thank you, Jim.
The Ithaval group, which is has something to do with this Laguna cult and Father Balder. This is getting into more Ragnarok-y things. Balder, Ithaval,
I believe
those
we
are
can
all.
Yeah,
refer to that by its
I
proper
mentioned-
terminology as Norse mythology and not
Yeah, I
Ragnarok-y
mentioned-
things.
Yeah.
I mentioned that last week with the Jormungandr Tower that we scaled in the last chunker.
Yeah,
I'm sorry for insulting all the Norse listeners of the show.
Yeah, well, we all know you're apologizing because you want to sleep with them. It's one of the things that I don't like about this game is that it seems to be like, I don't know, Earth but not Earth. And like, that's fine, but I would really like some like clarification. Like, is it alternate history? Is it not?
Well, they
just
say
not
that
Earth at
Vigrid
all?
is in Europe. They say Vigrid's in Europe.
And it's
yeah,
like
it
a
just
hidden
doesn't-
city.
It just doesn't
Yeah.
really make a ton of sense. And like, and here's the thing, I'll admit, I don't like this game enough to like really interrogate the lore, so I guess that's on me, but like, I'm constantly just kind of going, okay, like, where are you? What is this?
It's kind
What?
of, I see it as kind of like a Gotham City sort of thing. Like it's, not Earth, but it's pretty Earthish. It's just
Do
got
you?
some like
Because-
comic booky things.
So do you think that in this world that she lives in, like, there is like a Christianity? Because I don't get that impression.
I don't know. I guess so. Is that what the Laguna cult is? Or
Like, is there like a real, like, is it the world outside your window and this is all just secret stuff? Or is this, because the impression I have gotten is that this is like a weird Earth, like an alternate
Yeah.
history Earth where
It's
like
on
the
Spira.
religions are different and people
Yeah.
worship different things and
when she was in the United States, like all the ads were for Vigrid and stuff, so it's not secret. They talk about traveling
yeah, that's
there.
a good point too. If they're calling it like a secret city, but there's like billboards about this fucking city, how does that even make sense?
I was thinking that Vigrid is kind of like the Vatican City of this world.
Yeah, that makes
Maybe
sense.
those
but
ads were
that
just
kinda,
like
that's kind of
big
my
for-
problem is like, so that's fine, but can you like just like early in the game just like clarify what the fuck you're talking
Just
about
read some of those notes.
but I don't
Yeah,
want to
read those lore books.
I don't wanna. I did read a few actually, and I found them very boring, and I didn't care.
Are you guys switching up your weapons quite a bit, or what's
yeah.
your,
we were
deal
talking. Yeah, John said he finally
Okay.
did. I equipped that samurai sword, and really, it's amazing, and I don't care. I tried out the whip and the skates and the claws, but I don't care about them. The samurai.
I just
sword
bought a
is-
move where I can turn into a cloud of bats. I want to see what that does.
Oh yeah, I bought an ability too. Not the bat one, but the crow. There's a crow.
Yeah, the crow one
I
is
think.
great. Yeah,
I got
was
the crow
awesome.
one. I also bought an accessory that automatically starts witch time at the beginning of battles.
Oh wow!
And it made the game way easy.
I've got since I'm playing, I've just settled on the Daisy costume because I really like it. When she does her wicked weave attacks, instead of hair fists, it's Bowser's fists, and it always makes
Oh, that's
Bowser's
cool.
growl. It's like grrr. Yeah, it does Bowser sounds whenever she punches things.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. So you temperance.
I got that. You mentioned that last night when we were streaming, Jim. Hey, quick plug to our sweet new stream. Jim and Matt are currently playing Final Fantasy VI. We're trying to come up with a great, cool name for it. Right now, it's just Square Roots versus
Slut Zone.
Okay. Anyway, Jim, you mentioned it last night when we were streaming, and I did purchase it today when I was finishing up this chunker. It activates witch time when something attacks you, and
That's right.
yes, it makes the game. I'm already playing it on very easy, so I didn't really need to do this, but it does make it.
I find that it does
I got
not
a
work.
lot more platinums after buying this.
Although that accessory, it does not trigger witch time if you dodge a projectile or if you dodge like a boss attack. Or if a boss attacks you or shoots a projectile at you, it does not trigger witch time. You have to do that on your own.
It doesn't trigger. Witch time triggers when you dodge things. Are you saying it?
But this
stops
triggers
that?
on attack.
Yeah, something attacks you. It doesn't do it when bosses attack you. You're right, which is fine. It doesn't do it when.
Can you guys see this?
No.
Kinda.
It's the leg spread of
Oh,
the Joy
yeah.
Seraphim.
I've got a good screenshot. Send me some
Ain't it?
screenshots if you have them, Jim.
Okay, yeah, I have a bunch.
You know, some of this stuff has approached the level of not just like bad, but like legitimately cringe, and I don't
In
like
bad
that.
taste, at
Yeah,
least,
I
maybe.
don't like that.
So, you fight Temperentia. He's another of the cardinal virtues, and he's got little tubey hands. He's like a robot from Mystery Science Theater. He looks like built of little tubes and things.
I like that all these bosses love Bayonetta. Are like, oh, you're so powerful and hot and cool. Even after you defeat them and they're dying, they'll be like, oh, you're so powerful. We love you. And then they
Wow.
get dragged into hell.
I have some breaking hot, terrible news.
What's up?
Akira Toriyama died.
Oh no!
Oh, no.
That's a huge fucking bummer. He was only 68.
Wow, he's younger than I thought.
Yeah. R.I.P.
24 years older than me.
I mean, they were just about to launch that new show that he had a big hand in. What a bummer.
Oh, poor guy. So, this fight sort of took me a while to get the sense of it, because he's sort of attacking you with his fists, but you have to sort of get the little crusts off his fists, so then you can run up his arms and smash the tubes that are attached to his brain, I guess?
This was not my favorite boss. Two
It was
Arms
okay.
I do like when the game lets you like run up something's, arm or whatever and like get right up in its face and hit it. Like that's cool. I always, when I'm doing that, will go into cougar mode and
Yes. I
run
think
really
that's the
fast
best
up
way to
its
do
arm
it.
or whatever.
Oh, I never thought about that.
I do like that, but like other than that, like the design and just the overall.
The Panther mode, I think, lets you dodge more easily, like jump over things and get past the defenses. So anytime you're on like a long stretch, you should probably switch into one of her animal modes.
I feel like the dodge button pretty much makes you invincible. You get so many iframes when you dodge anything. Like even if you don't do it like precisely enough to trigger witch time, you're still not gonna take any damage.
Almost,
like from anything. Yeah.
There's a couple of fights where it disables witch time too, where it's already in witch time and they're in witch time, that are pretty tricky because you can't use witch time. So you smash out the brain tubes and rip off the arms, then you smash up the face. This was a gnarly one, but it was fun. And then there's this long bridge that you have to take. Bayonetta decides to pawn off Cereza onto Luca, who is somehow doing whatever she says. But I guess, you take care of a kid if you have to. And you're going to take a bridge all the way to this Isla del Sol, which is a island that has been created by the Ithavoll group as a new downtown business activity center for Vigrid. But it's got some interesting defenses. It's got some SAM missile sites to protect it, and the central Ithavoll group building is protected basically by a surrounding shield of skyscrapers, and it's in the center of that. Unfortunately,
this is motorcycle level, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, you do start getting attacked, and so you're defending their Jeep from the bad guys that are attacking. So first you start off jumping from truck to truck in a very like bad dude / shinobi way, which is great.
Yeah, this is real awkward and shitty.
I failed at this a few times.
Yeah, me too.
And then you have the she gets on a motorcycle and she, I guess witches do know how.
Well, hold on. You're forgetting the part where is this before or after Luca shows up and drives past her while she's on the highway? She starts running up the highway like the T-1000.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. So then you have a very long motorcycle sequence. It does play
very long.
Passing
Super
Breeze
long.
from
How was
Outrun.
this on normal mode? Because on easy mode it was easy. So, but like it was really long and like just not fun.
Yeah,
I just didn't think it was fun. But I was afraid that if I was playing this on like normal, that I would have been dying constantly and would have been fucking livid.
I died once during the fight before you get on the motorcycle, but I never died on the motorcycle.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow. I just missed some jumps and like plummeted into the ocean.
Yeah, but
I missed a bunch of jumps. A couple of times I felt like the game glitched my motorcycle off the road.
Yeah, that
and
happened
I just ended up falling into the
But even then it doesn't usually kill you. It'll just sort of reset you with some damage.
It just kind of resets you.
Yeah. It was fun. So the music is from Outrun, which is great. It's not the song that was playing when you're in the car with Enzo. This song is Passing Breeze, which I made lyrics to when I was a little kid because I'm a nerd. And
do you remember the lyrics?
Something like "Life is like a passing breeze." That's all I remember from the lyrics I made.
Wow, pretty poetic for little kid lyrics.
Well, the song's called "Passing Breeze," and I was a cool little kid.
Obviously.
So you then fight a boss at the end. I don't remember what the boss was. I think it was just like a Titan, wasn't it? I don't remember. There's a boss at the end. It was not like a special one. And then chapter 9. Oh yeah. So the bridge falls apart and Bayonetta is basically thrown into heaven. She's thrown into space.
Paradiso.
The Isle Paradiso, while Luca and Cereza are left on Earth. So this is the start of a weird space level. Every JRPG or not JRPG has to go to space. Every game has to go to space at some point. But I guess it's like heaven space. And I like that everything is different chunks. I mean, they're just reusing assets, but it's neat. It's like little chunks of her memory and different locations you were in before. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
It does introduce you to, well, you see a little, what is it there's some boss that you start seeing. It might be Justice that sort of shows up in the background, right?
I don't know.
Okay. But this is where you first encountered the kinships that I thought were the boss of the level. I was very disappointed when they were not. Those things are difficult. I think something was screwed up because I couldn't jump. The whole way that you attack them is to jump on them and then beat up the engine, but I could never jump on them in that first area.
Oh, in this first battle, I took one down the long way by just shooting it over and over. I couldn't find a way to jump on it.
Yeah.
There's an area later.
I'm sure there's a way
to
activate witch time so that you can jump on them when they pass over you.
Yeah.
There's an area later in the game, I think it's chapter 10, where there's like if you kill one, you can jump on it, and then you kill the next one and you jump on it. And if you do it like 3 or 4 times, kill 3 or 4 of them, there's a treasure chest at the end of it.
Yeah.
It leads to like an area.
I did do
almost
that.
Out of bounds.
Yeah. You get a witch heart and stuff. It's great.
Yeah, that's right.
There's also a treasure chest on this one. The one that doesn't move will let you. I didn't realize that. I was reading walkthrough that.
Oh, I didn't either.
One leads to a chest here. I just found I got now. I think I could go back and do this chapter better. That's why one of the reasons I want to go back, and also to make more money, so I can get some of the cool weapons.
Oh yeah.
But the end of this chunker is you're chased by a ball. It does a real Crash Bandicoot thing where you're running.
Yeah, she also did. Maybe you mentioned this. She notices some things around her that are from earlier in the game. Like the first thing that you land on when you land in Paradiso is the clock tower from the opening of the game.
Right. Yes. She's like, this does seem familiar.
And you get a little small portion of a town, and it's the one little portion of Vigrid you got to run around in earlier, which actually kind of annoyed me. Like, so you created like one corner of a street, and you've reused it now like 4 times.
Like, it's not a high budget game. I think that
I don't care. That sucks.
I don't.
That sucks.
For me, that's
I
not
care,
a big deal.
and I'm talking about how I feel about it. So,
and I'm talking about how I feel about it.
I'm talking about how I feel about it, and you're interrupting me to tell me that it's fine. It's not fine.
It is
sucks.
fine.
It's
It's
garbage.
fine.
I think we can all agree. What's most important is how I feel about it, and I don't care.
Yeah, me neither. So then you get chased by the ball. Eventually, you come to the end, and there's like this door. And suddenly the ball emerges, and the ball is a golem, and it can turn into different
change
modes.
into like a dragon guy and some hands and a
bird.
crow. Yeah.
I found you can really cheese this boss by basically standing right next to it and always going into witch time when it attacks, and it almost never can hit you, and you can just destroy the heart. The glowy gem thing in the middle. It was a fun boss. I liked it. A+. Next chapter, Paradiso, A Sea of Stars. This level is a boss rush. Starts with some joys, and then the Grace and Glory, which are the elemental fist boys. You fight Fortitudo again. Does a little return. Temperentia shows back up, and some kinships. And this one has the levels where you're like rotating them. That's pretty neat. Like you can get to some extra areas and stuff. That's where you get to
That was pretty cool.
the chest that Jim was talking about.
Yeah.
And yeah, but you do have it has this mechanic a couple of times of you have to find gears that are in chests to unlock a rotating mechanism. And she does a little pole dance to rotate things, which I'm sure Matthew loved. He was like, this makes me so horny. I love it. I'm going to masturbate now.
I loved it, John. It's so good.
Kids, you need to leave the room. Daddy's playing Bayonetta.
I mean, no, I don't like it. I think it sucks. But, at this point, I'm kind of... Used to it, at least.
Yeah, yep. All right, chapter 11, the final chapter of the game. This one starts out with Luke. So Bayonetta's she sees that Luca, at the end of chapter 10, she sees that Luca and Cereza are about to be attacked. So she goes back to the real world to interrupt. And this is where Cereza shows Luca that he can see what's going on if she uses her special glasses, which makes you think, oh, is this why
Hang on.
Jean... Yeah?
She doesn't use her special glasses. She clearly, enchants the glasses.
Oh, is that
so
what she
that
did?
He can see.
Oh,
She taps each lens, and there's a purple flash when she
I thought
does
that was
so.
her
So she's
showing that it
clearly
was magic.
She's enchanting the lenses, and then that allows him to see.
Yeah.
She can still
There's
see
a little-
without the lenses.
Yeah, shows a little taparoo on it.
Oh, she
Also,
mentions...
putting it in order like this, kind of makes me realize that chapters 9 and 10 are really just fucking filler. Nothing happens.
Yeah, it's sort of just she goes to paradise for some reason.
Well, not only are they filler because nothing happens, but they also reuse a lot of shit. So it really does feel like
The only thing story-wise is
this already super short and shitty game out.
She gets to explore that church she was in before and sees that Jean and Cereza were friends as adults, which seems, I guess, a timey-wimey thing. Or there's someone else named Cereza.
You already told us that part 2 is a sequel, but also a prequel because she goes back in time. So
I think
clearly
Jim,
we
that
already know.
That was Jim, Matthew.
Oh, I apologize.
God. It's a different J name. I'm joking, because I always forget who tells me what.
Jim,
No.
did you tell us that?
Yeah, because he went and was reading lore.
What did I tell you?
That
The
Bayonetta
sequel
2
is
is
like a
time
prequel
travel.
because she goes back in time?
I said that, I think.
Okay.
Sounds like something I would say.
Yeah.
Does it?
So she either enchants or has magic. The reason I thought that maybe the glasses were magic was because that would explain why Jean and Bayonetta have glasses, so they can see.
Who is Jean?
I don't know. She's
Is that
I don't know
Red
yet.
Witch?
She's a
Yeah, Red Witch.
she's
Is
the
it?
Red Witch. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
the blonde lady. So she Cereza gives the glasses to Luca, and Luca finally sees what's going on. He has a little flashback. Now, when he's watching Bayonetta fight, he has a little flashback to Angels, or to how Bayonetta behaved when he was a kid, and I think he's realizing that she was attacking Angels and not murdering his father, and that it was the Angels that murdered her father.
Yeah, I did. This was it was obviously coming, right? This was obviously going to happen. From minute 1, you knew this was going to happen. But I did like the finally paying off. And there's a quick cut scene of he puts the glasses on. Suddenly he can see Bayonetta and all the angels that she's murdering. He takes the glasses off. He sees the way the world looks around him with tufts of grass being shot into the air because magic bullets are landing around. And, he sees it's almost it's like an anime style, like a Dragon Ball-y fight scene where they're moving too fast for you to see. So there's just an explosion in the ground over here, and then an explosion in the air above you, and then a piece of a mountain flies away. And he puts the glasses back on, and he sees Bayonetta fighting these monsters. And then he thinks back to his childhood when his father died. And he realizes, this same thing was happening. The river that we were standing in front of, the water kept exploding into the air, and leaves were being blown off of trees, and I didn't understand it. And you can I think the game does a great job conveying Luca coming to this realization.
Mm-hmm. So at this point, plant tentacles do start coming out of the ground. And she shoos away Luca and Cereza, and
she's it had to be tentacles. And yeah, I agree, Bayonetta. The guy that made this game fucking sucks. Of course it had to be tentacles. Fuck.
Cereza does drop her cat toy, which is named Cheshire, which Luca was like, huh. and it does injure the cat toy. The tentacle cuts off one of the button eyes, and this makes Bayonetta angry, and she's like, well, we'll have to punish that naughty boy now, won't we? And
there's a lot of eye imagery and talk of eyes in this game. Like the bear loses its eye. Bayonetta and Cereza both wearing glasses. Some of the bosses have weird eyes. They talk about the eyes of the world.
Yeah. One good and one evil.
Yep. Well, not good and evil, light and dark.
Light and dark, you're right.
Lumen and
Umbran.
Lumen and Umbra.
Umbra meaning shadow. So you fight this plant monster thing, which has I love this boss design. It's like a sphere of baby faces with giant plant tentacles coming out of it. It is grody, but in like a cool way.
The cherub faces, it's always kind of unsettling to see like a cherub face on an enemy, and I like that they utilize it so much because they do it really well.
Yeah. This boss has the nastiest, like, the damage that Bayonetta does to it is gnarly.
Yeah.
Because it's rotating its heads and flinging tentacles at you while destroying the earth around you. I didn't realize that you're supposed to be jumping to other platforms, so I didn't die, but I kept falling and then hitting the ground.
Yeah, then you have to do like a QTE to go back to the platform. Yeah. I failed that the first time and got a death.
Me too. But after that, I really like this boss fight because it does involve like running up. You sort of have to disable the tentacles and then run up the tentacles to destroy the root of them. And it's just so gnarly when she cuts them.
Yeah, because the tentacles are like coming out of the mouth, like a mouth.
Yeah.
And then you have to, you kick the head and it starts to like pull out of the mouth very grotesquely.
Vomit the thing out. Like it is gross.
Just like it's very gory when you cut it too. But I like this boss fight a lot.
I will say one of the fun things about playing this game on easy is that I don't know that we've really talked about it, but each boss, when you defeat it, particularly these cardinal virtues, are always like, oh, the prophecies were right, and you're so powerful. And playing it on easy kind of makes that a little more satisfying because you so easily kick the shit out of this giant monster. And it's like, you're so powerful. And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's crazy. I'm barely doing anything.
This boss, I did very poorly on, and it was my worst performance of the game so far. I got a Stone Award at the end of this.
Every chapter, Jim. Every chapter, I've got a Stone Award.
The Stone Award, by the way,
chunker where I got like extra platinum. Did you guys know there's a level above platinum?
Yeah, pure platinum. Yeah. I got
pure platinum.
Yeah, I've got one like coin, but I've never got a pure platinum award.
I like that the trophy for the Stone Award is Joe Pesci mid-fall.
I will say I'm very glad that he's shown back up in this fucking game. I also stay out of the gates of hell as much as possible because I don't like any of that. I don't like.
You don't like the jokes about him wanting to be a bald space marine?
I just don't.
Yeah, that joke. Like, what are you saying?
I just don't like the character, and I don't like the long, exaggerated cutscenes. Like I hit a point where I just started skipping the cutscenes when I go to the gates of hell because I don't fucking care.
Anyway, so you destroy the cardinal virtue of justice, and then you rip out all its tentacles and then smash its face, and it's gonna go to hell, and it's like, don't worry, you're gonna meet justice, or not justice. What's the final one? Jubilation.
Jubileus.
Yeah, you're gonna meet Jubileus, and I hope he loves you. Bye. And this voice actor is a child too, so it's extra creepy.
Oh,
you can hear it just like as a young kid going like, oh, well, whatever weird talk it's doing, angel talk. And then it gets carted off to hell. And that's when it ends with Bayonetta being friends with the stuffed animal. It's very cute.
That's fun.
Yeah, and that's it for this chunker of Bayonetta. Next time on Bayonetta, we'll finish Bayonetta. And then Matthew will be done with it forever, and he gets his children back, which is the important part.
It's true.
If he's good
So
and
stop
likes it.
segregating himself in his own room of the house to play his naughty video game.
I just want to say the voice actor is definitely not a child. Definitely
For-
not a child.
I thought it was for for Justice.
They definitely like auto tune and like fuzz the voice, so it's very high pitched and childlike.
It sounded like a child.
I could be wrong, but in no way, shape, or form did I hear that voice and go, "Oh, that's a child voice actor."
That's what I
It's just a shitty, garbled computer voice.
Listeners, what do you think? Was that a child voice actor? Was it a shitty, garbled computer voice? Let us know. Email us. And also send Vanessa your regards.
John, do you have any other bullshit minigames you want to discuss this week?
I did do one of those, what's the name of Alfheim things?
Mm-hmm.
And this one I had to not, or only use Wicked Weaves, but I just kept, I just wasn't good at it. Just wasn't good at it. It was too hard. And I'm not good at
What's your high score in Angel Attack?
50. I did. You know what I found playing on the actual Switch instead of on the TV was way easier.
I bet if you can use the gyro controls, I bet it's a lot easier. The controller it's janky. My high score is 103.
Wow. See, mine's only 52. I suck at it.
If you look at the little scoreboard on the side, there's like a mystery one that's worth 10 points. And what it is like a little wheel winged thing that'll kind of move across right to left, like a little Galaga thing. Like,
Yep, yeah.
And those are worth 10, and they're also super easy to hit. So
I think I just don't take enough time to. Like, I'm not taking enough time to really look at it.
I can see that if I was playing on normal, like the rewards, I would be like, yeah, well, fucking please give me some more lollipops. But because I'm playing on super easy, like I don't need any of this. This is nothing to me.
They do help.
I'm sure. I bet. I have not had to use any of that at all. Sometimes just because I have the points, I'll go ahead and get myself like the extra health. I never, need it.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is 10 out of 10, great game.
Yay!
Matthew's a convert.
Matthew, what
My
are
cat in the
you...
face. Excuse me for him.
Oh, Jim, what are you roundly for or squarely against?
I'm roundly for the cutscene where Bayonetta, without looking, uses her gun to shoot a bullet into the dick hole of a statue.
Oh, yeah, we didn't mention that. That's how you kill Temperencia.
That was an A+ moment.
Yeah,
there
basically.
is a whole extended cutscene of her killing that boss where she like hits it with a fuel truck and then like sticks a fountain statue in it so that it's like peeing fuel all over it.
Mm-hmm.
And then she tries to shoot
the dick hole.
She tries to shoot. No. It's peeing.
She uses her foot gun to try to light the gas.
Yeah, it's peeing a fountain of fuel and that's coming towards her and there's a trail and she shoots that and it like the flame runs up the trail and you're like, oh, this is going to blow it up. And then it just kind of sputters out and the music kind of does this like womp womp thing. And then she shoots the statue in the dick hole and explodes it.
Mm-hmm. What
also,
a great
there was a
cutscene.
scene that we didn't talk about with her and Luca again once he could finally see what was going on, where he jumps to like save her from an attack.
Mm-hmm.
And they are once again, for the second time in this game, like wrapped up around each other in the air.
But he's trying to kiss her and she just does
he does like lean in for the kiss and she just kind of like slides past his kiss and and again you get this kind of like womp womp music, which really, that did make me laugh.
All right. I am squarely against I was squarely against that first battle with the kinships. I just could not figure it out and get on them. I don't know if something's a little busted with that fight, because the second one was way easier. I don't know what was up with that. Matthew, what are you roundly for?
I know I'm
squarely
playing it on
against
easy, but I didn't have a problem getting on the ships. So
all right, yeah.
I guess in the interest of trying to be a little more positive, I will say that I do like Cereza. I mentioned it already. I think that the character model is very well done. It really does look like a small child in a way that games never seem to be able to really pull off. Like, particularly the facial animations really hit a spot in my soul that reminded me of my own children around that age. Like, it was kind of weird where I was like, must protect this child. But still squarely against this game. It's a piece of shit. Fuck you.
All right. And Jim, actually, you know what? Matthew, what's a Patreon?
Oh, we got one more thing.
Oh.
Since this is the penultimate episode of Bayonetta, I think it's time to announce the next game.
Ooh.
We did have an email.
Yeah, we have an email too. Next game that we're going to be playing, so our listeners can get a head start, is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the hot new Final Fantasy VII remake game. Just came out a couple weeks ago. We're going to be playing it. If you want to get a head start, the first chunker will cover to the end of the Nibelheim flashback.
Ooh.
Okay, that seems short.
So
I mean,
plan
it's long
accordingly.
Gameplay wise, and I kind of hated it, but it seems short for the show.
Yeah, then all the chunkers after that will be a bit longer, but this one I think we'll have a lot of setup talking about what happened in the last one.
You're right. Yeah, we're excited about it. We've never done a brand new game on the show. It is a little different, and listeners, if you are holding off for it to hit PC or you just can't afford it yet, we understand. But we wanted to try something different, so we're going to do Rebirth, and I think we're all pretty excited about it. And I don't know that Vanessa will make this season, hopefully the back part, but I doubt she'll be up for doing full episodes anytime within the next couple of months, just judging by the way she sounds these days. So maybe she'll finish Dragon Age and get ahead of us and whatever, but that's unfortunate, and we love Vanessa and miss her, but we got to forge ahead with this show for you, our beloved listeners.
All right.
Matt, you said we had an email. What's up with that?
Yeah. So it was just a nice email from Crystal, who's emailed us several times in the past, specifically to Vanessa. She said some nice things to Vanessa, hoping, wishing her well. And then she said that she's been listening back to our Chrono Cross episodes and that she loves that series and our coverage, and that she's happy we all ended up enjoying it, except for Jim, who didn't fucking finish it. I kind of paraphrased that email.
Sounds like you did a Burger Time.
Yeah, I did a Burger Time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jim, tell us about the Patreon.
Sure. I mentioned it earlier, but we have a Patreon. It's at patreon.com/squarerootspodcast. We had a lot of great bonus content on there. You can access all that at the $3 level. In February, we did a commentary for Roger Corman's Fantastic Four movie. We've got a lot of level up content on there, some instant classic stuff. We've been doing this podcast for a while, so there's a pretty awesome backlog of content on there. If you subscribe at the $5 level, you get access to all that, plus the ability to vote on games that we play on the show when we decide to open up votes, so that's super exciting. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, not a vote. That's not a vote. I picked that one. Sorry, listeners. Really wanted to play it. But, like I said, you can have access to all that sweet, sweet content and those sweet, sweet benefits at patreon.com/squarerootspodcast. Another benefit of being a patron is that we like to personally thank some of them on the show. I'm going to kick us off this week by thanking Tracy, the Daily Gazette, Ron, Brandy, respectable name, Cyril the Wolf, Zachary Bullet Ant Harbison, David Pascal, Chris Sasaki, Hat Ben, the Ben with the hat, Chris Parsons, be sure to hit Y and B when you climax, T Bumpkins wishes everyone a happy new year from Tickle Crab Islandu, Joshua Rose, Clownface, and Keysby Knight.
I'd like to thank Isaac Wright, Citrus C, Star Drifter, Gigantified Micro Space Hamster, Join the Princess Posse, J-Bone, DP2099, Mike Marno, Armin Hammer, Johnny Five Alive, Soul Wagner, Angel, David Green, Andy M, Tom, and Omaha Zookeeper, aka
I'd like
Jim's best friend.
Oh. I'd like to thank Frost Terror, Stephen Paget, Ben H, Make Gaia Great Again, a joke from 2016 that we haven't mentioned in a long time. I guess someone's listening to the old episodes. Wash in the Wind, Jesse's Mom's Pizza, Ian Frederick, Ward Childress, Mike, Amanda Douglas, A Sentient Picture of a Banana, Magpie Juju, Nofford, Butts on Parade, David Arnold, Cerulean, Sergeant Spaghetti, and Florian Jonas Kramer.
All right, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. If you'd like to have Matt paraphrase your email on the air, you can email us at squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group for smart, cool, very attractive people. Or find us on Twitter at Square Roots. Find us on Blue Sky at squarerootspod.bsky.social.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, Ghana, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can't listen to podcasts on iTunes anymore, so it's probably Apple Podcasts or one of the other ones. Thanks to Stephen Morris for our Square Roots theme. You can find Stephen on Blue Sky and on YouTube. Links in the show notes.
All right, for Square Roots, I'm Jim Banks.
I'm Matthew Van Zant.
I'm Johnny Brandon.
Goodbye.
And I'm Vanessa.
Shockingly short episode.
Yeah. I got a shorty.
Shortest one in ages.
Yeah.